Join me behind the scenes for my Glamour headshot shoot with Emily. We're going to be showing you which lighting to use, how to get hair and makeup done, and many more tips. I like to have the whole studio ready before the model shows up. It saves a lot of time and you don't have to worry about fussing or realizing that you have to tear down some lights and everything while your model's waiting there with the hair and makeup ready. So right now I'm doing some test shoots for our shoot with Emily. Yesterday I got the studio all set up. I covered up the windows to make sure there wasn't any stray light. I used an octabox on a strobe as the main light, and then instead of using strobes shooting into V flashes as fill light, I tried these new Per Gear LED lights, and they seem to work pretty well. I used continuous lights, well, because we were testing them, but also I wanted to see if the continuous lights would work as well as a strobe. I like that the Per Gear lights are light and cool to the touch, so I don't have to worry about having these heavy, hot lights all around. It can be nice too to just see the final product, what the lighting's gonna look like in your picture. One thing that I didn't like about the continuous lights, even though they're much easier and lighter, is that there aren't any modifiers that go on them. You can't put barn doors, you can kind of throw a sock on there, but other than that, you don't have as many options as the traditional strobes. One easy way to communicate your vision to your makeup artist and your model is to set up a shared document. You can put inspiration pictures, drawings, or whatever else they might need to be prepared when they show up for the shoot. I found Emily while dining at a restaurant. I saw her walk in with her mom, and I live in a small town, so you don't see many tall, thin, beautiful people. And I just went over and gave her my card and said, if you're interested in being a model, I'd love to take pictures of you. And she was. She's a great model. I found the makeup artist while going through Instagram and looking at local hairdressers and things like that. I was looking at Model Mayhem as well, you can find them there, but I was more comfortable with using someone local that I knew it would be easy for me to work with them again. I like her a lot, Morgan.
That's like a real skill, makeup. Like it's something you develop over years. Even if you're good at doing your own makeup, somebody else is always a little bit better at it. And the makeup that the models do on their own can be real hit or miss.
I think I might have to just up the main light a bit.
I think we'll have a lot of tweaking to do once we get her in here.
Yeah.
As far as the hardness of it and making it interesting, contrasting. I just try to anticipate anything that Chelsea or the model or the makeup artist might need. So I'm checking to see if anybody needs water. I'm running around and I'm moving lights. I'm double checking everything Chelsea does. So a picture comes up, I look at the screen and I look for stray hairs. I look for a finger that might be out of place. I'm trying to explore all those little details. I'm also looking at like the histogram, making sure everything technically is working. So it's a little bit of everything. It can also be a very technical job.
Okay, just that little bit made the difference. The background's a little darker now. And I think that exposure is fine.
I like assisting. There's less pressure, which is nice. You don't have as much of the actual like scheduling and work to do. But you still get the same learning experience, like how to work with different people. Like every single shoot is a learning experience in some way because every situation is different, every model is different. Almost forgot, if you want to learn photographic techniques, lighting, mood, posing, expression, all the stuff that makes your pictures awesome, check out our book, Stunning Digital Photography, which includes over 14 hours of video, lifetime updates, practices, quizzes, and access to a private Facebook group for help and feedback on your pictures. If you're into post-processing, we have books on Lightroom and Photoshop, which include hours and hours and hours of video training, so you can read the book or just watch the video training if you want. And if you want more information about the gear, things like lighting, light modifiers, we have a whole book on that. Look at that fat 400-page book, My Photography Buying Guide. Pick those up at our store or just go to Amazon. You can see all the reviews.
Oh, you know what it is? It's the main light. It doesn't look bad, but lighting issue. I love the colors though, your lips with the dress, it looks like.
Yeah, she's good.
I can make it match even more in Photoshop. punch it up a bit. When I was initially conceptualizing this photo shoot, I really wanted contrast, not just with the light, but with the colors, which is why I went with a few bold elements like the red lip with a gray background. But I wanted to see what it would look like if I shifted that gray more towards the blue. So we had this red and blue contrast, even if it was subtle. It ended up being a bit too blue though, and looking kind of like tacky and school picture-y, so I didn't end up using it. And try with your other hand now. There are different schools of thought for directing your models. I like to keep things very positive, and I like to keep things fluid. I feel like if I say, no, that doesn't work, then suddenly they're in their head. I want them to be so comfortable around me. So I'll say, let's try a pose with your hands. And I'll say, okay, that's good. Now let's try something else. And it's just about trying new things, trying different poses while still being comfortable. I think that my model is as much a part of the process as I am. And I also have some modeling experience from working with Tony, and I know that something can feel very awkward and look good, or vice versa. So I wanted her to have an understanding of what she was doing and how it converted to the camera. I thought that was important for her to see. I'm trying to think, I saw one too where she had her hand around her eye kind of, and I'm trying to think how she had her. I have a picture here. Let me see. Oh yeah. I also showed Emily some example pictures since she's a newer model, and I'd say, we'll see how this model is twisting, let's try something like that. And that would give her inspiration for her own poses and give her better ideas of what works well for her. Once I tried tethering in the studio, there was no going back. There's so many things that you can see when you see your picture on a big screen. Flyaways, sometimes it's a matter of missing your subject's eye by millimeters in the studio. And it's just important for me to make sure that I get the shot that I want in the studio. So I love tethering. I also like tethering because you can share your pictures with everybody on board with the photo shoot right away. I would turn it around and show Emily and say, whoa, that pose really worked. And you're just giving feedback to everyone around you. So it makes that team effort more cohesive, I think. And then I'd like to try an almost complete profile, like from the side of your face.
Do you just want me to turn my whole body or just
Yeah, your whole body. And then just a little bit towards me more. A little more. Yeah. And then glance down again like you were doing. I thought about post as I was planning the shot. So I wanted the light to be dramatic, and I knew that I would be enhancing that with dodging and burning. And I also knew that the red of her lips and her dress might not match. So I knew I'd be adjusting colors and punching them up and really playing with contrast a lot in the final picture. So that was something that I took into consideration. Her dress had a gold choker built in, and I thought that it was very gaudy, but I knew when I was buying the dress I could go in and just turn it silver. So yeah, I'm always thinking about post. There we go. Initially I switched cameras midway through because I had a problem with my lens. One of our lenses is broken and not focusing. But once I switched to the 5DSR, I realized it was sharper and that I liked the color much better, and that it was also focusing better. So kind of like happy accident, I guess. Can you look down, like kind of at your feet and away? Yeah. These are both supposed to be 70 to 200.
Yeah.
They have completely different focal lengths.
We took an accidental picture in like full profile, and I had this idea that, yeah, I don't know if either of these pairs of sunglasses are even going to work, but maybe you're like looking off into the distance and kind of taking your sunglasses off. I grabbed some sunglasses for Emily just because I felt like the picture needed like one other thing, and it was not the sunglasses. The sunglasses did not work at all. It was really cheesy. But at that point, it prompted Chelsea to go look for some other props, and she ended up putting a hat on Emily, and that really worked. So that's kind of like why the cooperation and random brainstorming is productive. And you can't like bust somebody's balls if the sunglasses look super bad, because maybe it just sparks something in somebody else.
I love to share shoots with people. I like when Tony and I both go back and forth and shoot. Sometimes he sees something that I don't, and we have different skills. And I think that when we work together, then we can kind of be the best of both worlds. I had a very specific photo shoot in mind, but I also, at the end of the shoot, I like to just mix in a bunch of different elements and hope for a happy accident. And usually being a little bit bold and creative and silly can bring out a picture that I really like. That's happened to me before with the bubble wrap, using that in a picture. So I just like to experiment once I know I got the shot I came there for. I use a tripod because I run around a lot during my photo shoots. First of all, I know the general direction that I want my camera to be in. I knew I wanted a headshot, so I didn't have to crouch down at any time. But it also allows me to go and kind of adjust lights or adjust my model, or easily go through my pictures and see if I got the shot I wanted.
One thing that went wrong during the shoot is our backdrops just kind of suck. Like, just because I think all backdrops suck, they come in these cardboard rolls and they work great for like 2 to 3 months, but if you use your backdrops for a long time, they get all saggy and then they get wrinkles in them. And you can fix it in post, but then you just end up adding more post-processing time, and we have to find a good solution for that besides building out a full cyclorama.
Initially, I set out to take these pictures as a teaching exercise, also just to fulfill myself creatively, but I'll be putting them up on stock sites and just sharing them on my portfolio. I was happy with the final shots. Like every photo shoot, once I have my final image, I think of things I could do better and things that I learned from my experience, but I shared them and I like them, and I even put one up in my portfolio.
Was Emily happy with the shots?
Emily was happy with the shots. Her family asked for more pictures so they could print them, so I'll be sending them to MPics, and I think they'll have a picture on their mantle.